4th, 2024 Parker Water Board meeting to order. From staff, we've got Deborah Leshansky, Nikki Hoyt, Rebecca Tejada, James Roach, Jared Mann, and Jeff Vargas. From the board, we've got Bill Wasserman, Brooke Booth, Don Langley, and our friend Robert is flying somewhere overhead or trying to get landed and will likely not make it.
Don't forget Marlon Klatz.
Well, and yeah, but we've also got Ron Red, who I skipped over, the manager, and our attorney, Jeff Parker.
I was gonna get ready to pack.
Thanks.
Okay. Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any unscheduled item of public interest? Seeing none. Any changes or additions to the agenda?
We have none.
Any board comments?
Yeah, I have a quick comment.
Speak up.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up from the last meeting about the scheduling of these working sessions with the board to talk about the financial management policy. I'd hope tonight to maybe just try and understand or ping everybody on what maybe good dates, what, you know, is a Thursday night good for you for people that are working, or, you know, what's the best timing to try and set that up. It'll be, you know, maybe it might be 3 or 4 weeks before we actually get to it, but Robert's not here, so I'm going to ask Ron to just kind of follow up with everybody and see if we can't find, you know, convenient time so everybody can make it at the same time. So, ran on that deal.
We're thinking if it's a Saturday morning, is that the Hermosa type breakfast stuff? Right?
Said Thursday.
Oh, Thursday.
So,
I actually like the idea of the Saturday morning breakfast meeting, but, you know, a lot of people have plans on Saturdays, so, but.
So we'll send out a request, what works best for people. And we're thinking, Dawn, isn't it like maybe a 2-hour max work session? And
Yeah.
And we'll work to have a lot of data so we can react to things, type of thing. So
Yeah, I would think one session to get everything kind of kicked off, kind of knead the dough a little bit, that kind of stuff. We may or may not decide, you know, to then have a second session. I guess just kind of depends on how it goes, but no more than that, and no more than 2 hours at a sitting. That'd be plenty, yeah.
Any other comments? Okay. Leadership team.
okay, I'm up. So again, this time of year is always a little depressing, but we're down 123 acre feet. But still, we're at 26,300, and you can see from the graph, we're really in a good position.
the rain we got yesterday didn't compensate?
You know what? It really didn't. I heard we already paid it back, whatever came in, or at least the rain from a couple days ago. We've already paid back the river.
We got about 2 inches in the last couple of days.
Yeah, it's been a lot. But no, it doesn't seem. A lot of times it takes days to get to the reservoir, but we haven't seen it. And again, Bo, we're still at 105 feet, which is great news. A couple things I wanted to just show you. I thought this was interesting. I met with our rec, Douglas Amy, our rec manager, and I'm just shocked to see these numbers. So we're up from last year. Last year we had some cold months to start, but the reservoir visitors to date, or through June, is 4,500 people, and you know that just. I think fishing has helped out a lot. Anglers, almost 1,300 anglers total. You know, we're 5,800 people on the reservoir side, and then the incline just shocks me. But halfway through the year, we're almost 49,000 visitors have shown up here. So just wanted you to see that. I think it's a wonderful amenity, and you know, we get a lot of good feedback on this. Any questions at all? So a couple things. We had we had a video shoot today with the Douglas County Water Commission. We had 6 commissioners, including Director Langley. Commissioner Teal was there, and they met up at the pavilions. It sounded like it was an hour and a half shoot for 3 minutes of video. Type of thing. But it was just nice to host them. We were up there greeting them and good to touch base with a lot of those folks. We did host lunch. We thought, it's going to be a long day for them, so we did host lunch. So it went really well, I think. We had people that had never been to the reservoir, and I think it was eye-opening for them to see not only the reservoir, but just, the Rudolph campus and how everything's coming together. So that was great. Love doing that. And then Deborah and I, we meet with Representative Hartsook a couple times a year. So this was off session, just getting updates. And he's asking, anything coming up you're worried about. And there's a few things, so we let him know. He's got a lot on his plate. And so he doesn't know all the water side as much. And so it's helpful that he is looking for these now. So it went really well. We have a great representative who thinks of, Parker Water is very key. So it's nice to have that. So pass that along. All right, engineering.
Thank you. All right, the first update I wanted to give you, I've got a staff-focused update to start. So you guys all know Heather Justice. I just wanted to highlight that in this month's Headwaters magazine, she was highlighted as one of their spotlight members of the Water Education Colorado. She does a phenomenal job of representing Parker Water. She's been part of WECO, which is the water education, since 2019. Well, Parker Water's been there since 2019. Heather's been an individual member since 2023. She graduated from their Water Leaders program several years ago, and now she serves on the Metro Roundtable and is the appointee for the legislative representative for the roundtable itself, which is really important. They bring forward water issues and deal with a lot of things, and they actually help with grant and funding opportunities for other entities as well. So she does a great job representing our district, and is really an example of good leadership and innovation. So I just want to say congratulations to Heather and let you guys know some of the things our staff is doing.
Yeah, that was very cool that just popped up. There's also, Ron Redd is in that issue too, right?
I can get to that page.
No, that issue was Alan Best. I think a lot of people know him from Big Pivots. Did an article, it was 3 parts, Republican River Basin, the San Luis Valley Basin, and South Metro, and certainly talked about, had conversations with Mark Marlowe and Ron that were quoted in that. I sent Ron the Big Pivot edition of that, if people would want to see that.
I should probably send it around. It's a picture of Joe Frank, who's our partner in Platte Valley, and Jim Yon, who manages Pruitt in North Sterling. And we're standing on a rickety old diversion structure. And but it's pretty, to me, it's like it's a photo in time that people will probably look at later. You can hardly tell who it is, but you can see it. So it's good.
I thought it was a fair article.
Yes.
I thought he kind of captured things pretty well and didn't really go, out in left field or anything. So it's a good addition. Ending with Heather.
I wanted to give another staff highlight as well. Stephanie Sansom, who is in the audience today and will be presenting shortly. She is in the class of 2025 Design Build graduate. So she is a certified DBIA professional, which means the Design Build professional. So she had to demonstrate to the Design Build Institute of America multiple years of hands-on experience of project management. She had to provide multiple references. She completed courses in the Code of Conduct in setting a stage for design-build success, in collaborating, and in contract and risk management. She had to pass an extensive exam of 100 questions, and that truly measures her mastery of design-build best practices. So again, I want to say congratulations to Stephanie, and I highlighted the website of the Design-Build Institute, and she's in there as one of the graduates. So,
Congratulations.
Yeah, nice job.
which leads us to our very last update, which Stephanie's going to present for us. A couple of weeks ago, Director Kanaa asked about the design-build process, and we had mentioned the use of off-ramps, and he wanted a little more information on that and thought it would be good for the whole board to hear that. So Stephanie's going to present a little bit on that delivery method and also focus on the off-ramps.
Great, thank you, and good evening. So yeah, as Rebecca mentioned, I'm just going to kind of give an overview of the design-build method and the off-ramps. This slide you've seen a number of times as we've presented the North Plant next phase expansion to you. Really looking at the difference between design, bid, build, which is your traditional product delivery method where the owner, Parker Water, would have contracts with both a designer, engineer, and then a contractor. And we hold two separate contracts, and then they kind of work together, but we manage both of those. When you're looking at design build, it's much more collaborative. The designer, the engineer, and the contractor actually select their own team, and then they bid on the project. So we're really only holding one contract. I like to call it one throat to choke if we have issues. We don't have to deal with finger pointing and that kind of stuff. And oftentimes we have an owner's advisor in there to help us kind of look at the contracting, the bidding process, the development of the GMP, all of that stuff. So it definitely helps us there. So just another graphic of how that design build really works. As you can see, as the owner, we are insulated from all of the other things. The design build entity encompasses everything from safety to suppliers, design integration, structural estimating, all of that stuff. So design build is actually one of the fastest growing and commonly used project delivery systems in the US right now, especially in water and wastewater. It drives the culture of integration and collaboration. What we're really looking for when we hire these teams are someone that we can trust, we've got mutual respect for, someone that's going to work together with innovative solutions and creative problem solving. The biggest thing with design build is really having that mental shift to act as a single entity rather than an owner, a designer, a contractor, all trying to come together and with all different interests, basically. Design build, you're shooting for one goal, you're shooting for a successful project, and that's what we're looking for. So in terms of entity selection, when we're looking for a design builder, there are three different main types of design build. The progressive is a qualifications-based selection, which is what we used for the North Plant. So one-step selection process. We put out an RFP, and firms get together and bid on that project. Really here, the emphasis is on team qualifications. We're looking for a team, again, that we trust, that's gonna have that mutual respect. And then the GMP, which is the guaranteed maximum price, is developed at a later point, usually around 60%, but that can be changed based on the project. A second approach is best value. This is a two-step selection. It's really an RFQ, which is a request for qualifications. We send that out. You get a short list of firms. So if you say you get 7 proposals, you'll typically shortlist 3. And then you have those 3 bid on a request for proposal. And then you get a qualitative proposal and a fixed price. This one, however, you actually have to have the design progress to about 30% because they need something to actually bid from. Whereas in the progressive design build, you're kind of just going in with an idea and kind of what you think the project needs to be. And then the last one is a cost-centered competition. This one is actually strongly discouraged by design DBIA. Design concepts are highly prescriptive. Award is just given to the low bidder. It removes all of that innovation, collaboration, teamwork that we discussed previously, which is really the centerpiece of design build.
Question?
Just done.
Yeah.
You said the GMP was developed at 60%.
It can be. That's the typical point.
So is that 60, the design is 60?
60% design.
60% design completion, okay.
Yeah, but it can be, it's done as early as 45% and can be done as late as, 80 or 90. It just 60% is kind of that good stopping point that they've found to be the most successful.
And that's what we're planning for the North Plant?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah. So the typical structure for a design build, you basically have two phases. You have your pre-construction phase, which is where you develop your 60% design and your guaranteed maximum price, and then you have your final design and construction. This is when the scope is fully identified, and you do have a chance for an off-ramp at that 60%. And these off-ramps are basically if you can't come to an agreement on the price, if you just, the owner and the design build team just can't get there, there is an off-ramp option.
So what happens then? So the contract is terminated?
Contract would be terminated, yes.
And so the contractors, whatever work they've done, they get paid for the work to that date?
I do. I've got some slides later on kind of showing
Okay.
more information about the off-ramp, but yeah, good question. You're good. So how we're doing it for Phase 1B for the North Plant, Emily described this a couple weeks ago. We've actually added a third phase kind of into this process to do the preliminary analysis and alternatives analysis because we don't actually know what the process of the North Plant needs to be. So we're going to have an alternatives analysis and then the 30% design in that preliminary phase. But we've also worked with Jeff Parker and our design build team to work in a second off-ramp. So if we decide at the end of the alternatives analysis that the team's just not working out, they're not really giving us the service we want, we're kind of beating around the bush in terms of alternatives and not really deciding on something, we've worked in a provision into the contract that we can take an off-ramp after the alternatives analysis, not getting too far into design so that we can still, proceed with either another alternative delivery method or another contract team. So for the contract overview, the Water Collaborative Delivery Association actually has a bunch of templates. They have these for RFQs, RFPs, scopes of service. So we did use their template as a go-by for the RFP, and then also design build agreements from past projects as go-bys. We use them from chlorination, filtration, and we worked again with Jeff and the design build team to modify that contract to include this third project phase in that off-ramp. So, off-ramps. Yeah, so basically what the off-ramps allow is it allows Parker to review the documents assigned at these certain stages of design and walk away from the project with no further liability or obligation. As I mentioned, the North Plant contract identifies these off-ramps at the alternatives analysis and after pre-construction. What these really are looking to do is, the first one is really safeguard against inflated GMPs. The contractor really wants the job, right? They really want to make this work. So if a contract can't be reached and we can't agree to a term, a price, then that's when we walk away, or we can walk away. Flexibility in project delivery. If we decide to take the off-ramp, we can actually look at other methods of procurement. We can use our typical design bid build, or we can continue with another contractor and kind of use the same engineer and work with that. The big thing there is really clearly identifying who has the right to that intellectual property, and that's written into the contract. So basically, the last bullet point is really that access to the completed design work. We will retain the right to any portions of the work that are completed as long as we pay for them. Excuse me. And then that last one is really just transparency in pricing. The off-ramps really encourage those open book negotiations. It incentivizes the entity to provide a fair price to avoid contract termination. The off-ramp actually was used by Parker in the design of the Water Resource Centralization Project in 2017. And we did that. It was a successful off-ramp. The project was built, but it's messy. It's not the way that we want to end projects. That one was terminated due to we couldn't agree on price. The contractor came in, I think it was like $20 or $25 million over our budget, and we weren't going to find that money. So that's kind of the basics. So questions?
Any questions?
So that off-ramp at the GMP, that's kind of a double-edged sword in a way,
It can be.
because if you go ahead and take that off-ramp, then you're almost back to ground zero. I mean, you got designs, you got some design IP and stuff, but so the contractor would be aware of that as well, right?
Yeah, and so for the WRCP, we were actually lucky enough to be able to retain the services of the original engineer on the project, and they continued through the next phase of the project with a different contractor. So we didn't have to go back to the beginning and redo the design. No engineer, like, as you mentioned, no engineer of record is going to say, oh, I'm taking someone else's design and I'm going to stamp it and seal it and we're good to go. So yes, it could be the fact that you might have
You
to
just
start.
have one car down the
Yeah,
off-ramp.
exactly. Right. And I did actually do some research. I reached out to some folks in the industry. The off-ramp actually seems to be utilized less than 3% on these types of projects. It's more common when you're doing a CMAR, which is the construction management at risk. That type of design delivery is, the owner still has two contracts, one with the designer and one with the contractor, but we bring the contractor in at like 30%. And again, the off-ramp is more taken in that respect because you can let the contractor go, but you still have the engineer on board, so you're finishing the design with the same engineer.
Any other questions? Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Very good.
You're not doing any of that. That's not you.
So,
So we need to go back to the leadership presentation,
Yes.
so James can do his.
Channels on my TV.
Don't miss yours.
I'm trying to. Okay,
There we go.
so tonight is what I like to call picture night, but before we get started, I wanted to let the board know that the district will be converting back to monochloramines starting on Monday. So we were able to get our flushing moved forward through the hard work of not only the Water Resources Department, but District Services helped, and a lot of people involved in making this happen sooner than was anticipated. So I'm happy to report that that's
So
going.
what was the total time from when you started the free chlorine to when you're going to end?
58 days so far, 59 days,
Yeah, okay.
something like that.
Once we switch over, how long will it take to get the system fully back with the chloramination?
It took us 3 days to go one direction. I'm anticipating 3 days to go
3
back
days on that, okay.
the other direction, so. And I think it's going to go off without a hitch, so.
We have to warn the pool owners.
I'm sorry?
We have to warn the swimming pool owners. Yeah. What, the chlorine went away?
All right. So first photo here is Eric Amarina, our lead laboratory analyst, attended a workshop with CLARMA, which is the Colorado Lakes and Reservoir Management Association meeting. And they talked about using aluminum sulfate and a process called FOSLOCK to lock up phosphorus in reservoirs and to cut down on algae growth. So he was able to attend that. It's usually attended by more people, but this one was held at Denver Water.
Would we use a process like that in Reuter Hess?
It's unlikely we're going to need to with our oxygenation system, but I suppose sometime in the future it could be considered. Sure. To let you know, we've been going through our warehouses scattered around the district and taking some items over to auction. You've seen this each year. We've been able to kind of take some of the things that we don't use anymore and get them to auction, and they do surprisingly well. So this year, I believe there's quite a bit. We have a seasonal person who is actually working on inventory with our CMMS and making sure that we go through all of our buildings and we're getting a good inventory of what we have. and determining whether or not these items are still of value to the district. And if not, they're going up to an auction, and they will bring in a small amount of revenue.
Those look like big pump motors on that trailer?
It could be, yeah, it's quite possible.
Somebody wants those, huh?
Yeah, it's surprising what people will bid on. We take used office furniture, all kinds of things end up there. We have people here that actually like to go to auctions and, watch these things. But we have quite a bit going up this time. And I don't have any photos for you, but we have a large building at the North Plant called the Equipment Storage Building that we built actually to house a bunch of stuff. And now it's nicely organized, and the warehouse in this building is getting organized. We're really getting ready for getting our CMMS in place and having a good inventory of what we have, our assets. And then we have the going away celebration for Mike Hinton. Mike Hinton is an electrician supervisor. He's been with the district nearly 20 years, and he is actually quite a bit younger than I am, and he is retiring, at least temporarily, to go and see America with his wife. And they have a van, a conversion van, and they're going to travel around and go to places that are warm in the winter and it's cool in the summer. One of the things that Mike has done for this district is he put together an electrician apprentice program. And if you're familiar with the employment market, electricians are very, very rare. So the ability to develop your own licensed electricians in-house is a big deal. We went through the Department of Local Affairs, DOLA, and got licensed to do this, and Mike was instrumental in that and instrumental in just a bunch of the new capital projects that we've had, and those going back 20 years. So we wish Mike the very best in his...
Do we have a supervisor to replace him?
We do, and his name is Jake, and he is actually the one that went through the apprentice program. So we were able to move him up, and he's a very capable young man.
We need that back. I think.
there's any
No,
more.
we don't? Oh, it's separate. Sorry about that. Act like I know what I'm doing.
Good evening. All right, we have the June 2025 financial results. First, the operating revenues come in at $27 million, or 111% of their year-to-date budget. Capital revenues are a little higher than that, $27.7 million, or 112% of their year-to-date budget. And our operating fund expenses are $20.1 million, or 89% of their year-to-date budget. Capital fund expenses year-to-date are $11.5 million. Our cash on hand remains strong at $286 million, and a breakout of that $286 million is $64 million going to operations and debt service payments, $109 million of that going to our capital program and future debt service payments, and then $112 million of that is reserved or restricted, the leader of that being $79 million set aside for Platte Valley, $8 million in deposits that will be owed, and $7.1 million in debt service reserve. Our total user fee for water and wastewater is up 3.8% for about $737,000 compared to 2024. The billed water consumption is up 1.9%. Following that is revenue up 3.1%. Our total operating revenue is down $312,000 or 1.2% compared to 2024. And year to date, we now have a total of 411 SFEs, generating $16.7 million compared to the prior year at this time, 227 SFEs.
You remember what it was last month, the SFEs?
We were in the 392 range, I want to say, was where we finished out the month once we were reconciled.
So maybe a little plateauing, but we really can't read much into it, I suppose.
It's a hard read. I looked into the recent sales, and our commercial unit sales are what's keeping us, keeping that 411 unit sales numbers where you see it today, primarily the sales this month and last month. We had some that were like 16 SFEs and a handful that were 7 SFEs, right? So absent those sales, it really suggests that the residential has pulled back a little bit, but you know, not too much to worry. Steve wanted me to give you the assurance that we're still going to make forecast. At last year, for example, our total year sales were 555 sales for the total year, and we're already at 411. So to your point, it's a very hard read. Commercial's the driver right now, but I think we'll have a better read on that this time next month.
Thank you.
Great. And then let's see here, operating expenses, both funds are at 20.1 million. Expenses are higher by about 811,000 compared to this time prior year. And then the capital spending again is 11.5 million year to date. And that's mainly due to filtration, our Wise pump station, our DIA connection, and then obviously our water rights case. A little bit of color behind the statistics that we spoke to previously. Here we have the consumption by month, which will demonstrate that June of 2025 is down by 14.3% compared to June of the prior year. However, the year-to-date consumption is up 1.9%. Then looking at the water revenue, what you're going to note there is on the water revenue side is year-to-date, we're up 3.8% approximately, and then the year-to-date total is 11.7 million compared to 11.4 million in the prior year on the user fee revenue. And then on our tap fees that we just discussed, I actually had this note on here, again, the reassurance that we have reason to believe that we'll make forecasts. So no concerns there at this point in time. However, year-to-date, the SFE revenue is 16.7 million compared to 9.4 million this time last year. And here's our outlook on the seasonal and precipitation outlook. We have our seasonal temperature outlook, which right now is showing that we have above equal chances of having above average temperatures, and our seasonal precipitation outlook shows that we have below equal chances of having average temperatures. On the drought condition, while some areas of the state demonstrate there's some drought concern, in our particular county, there's no current drought concern.
I actually forgot to ask the candidates for CFO about their weather forecasting skills, so I have to go back through that. So I apologize to the board. I had Jeff jump ahead a little bit. So we've completed item 3 of the agenda.
Okay. Let's move on to approval of the minutes then. Do we have any changes or additions to the minutes for July 10th? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a vote?
Yes.
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 Accounts payable, or any unanswered questions on accounts payable?
I have none.
None? Okay, do we have a motion? Oh,
Second.
you got a second? Let's have a vote.
Yes.
Yes.
Could we back up 1 second?
Back up?
Credit card statement, credit card summary?
Jeff has pulled that together. It's held up on my end. I need to look at it real quick, and we'll get it out to you.
Are we going to try and do that like the second meeting of every month? Is that the idea? Not every meeting, but maybe the second meeting?
Yeah, we were thinking, I don't know if we had a meeting. We were thinking to do it once a month, but it was, but we have it. Jeff took care of it. It's just in my inbox right now.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Director Langley, what I did as well is I proposed what I felt is a really cool format, and I just wanted to get the internal buy-in on that, but granted that occurs, a really robust way to pull it through, and you'll be able to have that delivered to your inbox really on demand.
Cool format's good, yeah.
So we'll be getting that out tomorrow. So,
Okay, great, thank you.
you bet.
The way you're approaching it, is it efficient to bring it down?
Absolutely. Right now, we have it set to where we say any report over $3,000 will have the detail by cardholder illustrating the purchases and the color that you need specifically down to, hopefully what you need so it's clear when you get it. And that was part of the internal buy-in, just to make sure Ron was good with it and it had the substance that everybody was looking for. Once we get
think it's
past
a good
that, it'll be done like clockwork.
I think it's a good idea, but I just want to make sure we're putting an overburden on the result we're getting for.
No, not a problem. We use the software tools within our banking software to get that, so not a problem at all.
Okay. Informational discussion on DISC assessments.
Okay, I'd like to introduce Erin. She's our number 2 in the HR department. I might have mentioned this. She actually went out and got trained in doing the DISC profiles. And so we used to have to hire outside consultants to do it. Erin has taken that over, and it's just been wonderful, and she's doing a great job. She has just a 3-minute presentation, or a 3-minute video on kind of what it does, and then she has some work for you guys all to do, and she'll explain that. So,
We'll see
Erin,
about
it's all yours.
Thank you. So good evening. Again, I'm Erin, if I haven't met you. Hello. So I've been a certified DISC practitioner since July of 2023. The district has been utilizing some variation of the DISC profiles for years. This year, we really have identified that we want to enhance our coaching tools for our leaders by integrating DISC to promote greater alignment and shared foundational understanding across the district, which includes all of you. This is reflected in our strategic goal area of empowerment. So I have a quick video for you, like Ron said, to introduce the DISC, and then I will go over next steps.
This is DISC. It gives you a quick, intuitive way to understand yourself and the needs and priorities of the people around you. It describes 4 basic styles: D, I, S, and C. If you have a D or dominant style, you probably speak your mind, focus on the bottom line, and take pride in winning. You most likely prefer environments where decisions get made quickly and people are empowered to take charge of their work. But you may get impatient when you're asked to slow down or take a more diplomatic approach. If you have an I or influence style, you tend to focus on the positive, take quick action, and enjoy socializing. You're probably happiest in a work environment where you're free to explore exciting possibilities and share your ideas. But you might feel drained when you have to work alone for long periods, or when people's attitudes seem too negative. Or you may have an S or steadiness style, which means you probably like to do your part, keep things calm and friendly, and collaborate. You likely work best when you're part of a supportive team where expectations are clear. But if you're pressured to move too quickly or things get tense, it can stress you out, and you might have trouble speaking up. And finally, if you have a C or conscientiousness style, you probably focus on getting things right, put time into analysis, and prefer to keep emotions in check. You tend to appreciate environments where you can work at your own pace and your expertise is valued. But you may get frustrated if you think decisions aren't being thought through, or if you're expected to do a lot of socializing. So, how do you know your style? Well, everyone has a dot. That dot tells you your DISC style. Your dot can also be between 2 styles, such as in the area between I and S. And your dot's distance from the center of the circle is also important. Having a dot near the edge of your DISC map means you're strongly inclined toward your style. But if your dot is close to the center, you're only slightly inclined, and characteristics from several different DISC styles may resonate with you. Your dot also determines your shading. Think of the colored shading on your map as your comfort zone. It helps you understand the kinds of activities or attitudes that may come naturally to you and those that take more energy. Keep in mind, no disc style or dot location is better than any other. And because everyone is a blend of all 4 styles, there will probably be a few aspects of the other styles that you relate to. The bottom line is, everything disc gives you a new way to understand yourself and the people around you. To see past limitations, to know when to stretch a little, and to build skills that, over time and with practice, help create a culture that works for everyone.
All right. So next steps.
This is
Oh,
DIP.
no. There we go. So you will each be receiving an email from this email address. So it's a ghost email address, but my name should pop up. So you'll know it's not spam, with instructions on how to complete the profile. Should only take about 10 minutes. And then we will be conducting, or I will be conducting, a brief training for you at a date to be determined. So you'll learn about each other's styles as well as the executive teams. So I'm excited to see what your styles are and learn more about you. Any questions?
Did we volunteer for this?
It's part of, remember when you raised your hand?
No.
Yeah, it was part of
Other
that.
duties as assigned.
All right, well, thank you.
So no matter how hard I try, I keep coming up a C. I want to be an I, but I'm a C. So,
I'm gonna let you get it over with.
okay. Well, actually, Director Klotz and Director Wasserman have taken this before. We'll see if you've changed, but if you recall, you guys were both Ds. So, I know that's a shock to a lot of people, but so.
Okay, informational discussion, proposed modification to the employee handbook.
Okay, that one's on me as well. So we had this idea a while back, and we've been working on it. And before we bring it to the board for any action or any discussion, I wanted to present the concept. And if the board thinks it's a good idea to take forward, we'll go ahead and make the proposed language changes to the employee handbook. If the board's not interested, then we'll just move on. But the idea that we have is to create a position in the organization in which if you're a full-time employee, currently a full-time employee, or in the future a full-time employee, and you want to retire, say it's really built around retiring, that we would, if it benefits the district as well as the employee, we would have a part-time position for that employee to help us with our succession planning. So if you think of it, we could hire someone that the retiring employee can help train. A lot of times everyone's so busy they don't have time to document. So this position can document policies and procedures. We could just have this business continuity going forward. But it's also, I believe, helpful to employees retiring because they have kind of a soft step into retirement. So the idea is we could set up a part-time status where they work 2-3 days a week, still make whatever they make per hour, but the benefit would be full health benefits for a period of time while we do that. And so we think it's probably a 2-3 months max. We're thinking of asking for 12 because we control that, and we can, you never know, there might be a need, but there's an end date out there for this part-time, because again, the goal is to help transition information to a new employee, document, but then actually retire. And there is a little bit of a cost because we'd bring on the replacement employee a little earlier, so there'd be that interface before they went on. But we think it's a great way to transition, not only for the employee to transition out, but to have that interface with future employees. So we've run everything by Jeff, and a lot of times we come up with things that are illegal. This isn't one of them.
Never.
Yeah.
No, you
And
don't. No,
so
you didn't
we
say that.
figured out how to do it, but I want to make sure the board is comfortable with that. It's unique for our industry. It's actually done like at Starbucks and Amazon. You don't really hear of it, but we think it's a nice benefit, I think, to employees, but there's a huge benefit to the district as well. So
We have thinking about a maximum number of people at any one time that can be in this category, because I could see half the staff maybe one day wanting to do this.
well, so we actually have absolute control of, so you don't automatically get it. So to me, there might be a mindset, well, this is a great benefit for the employee. But if it doesn't help us, it needs to help the district. We need to have that. So we have total control of who does it and for how long.
It'll be good. New employee up to task sooner.
I think that's a good idea. Now, my other question is, are there legals we need to get caught up on our handbook, or are we totally clean with all this, anything that's been changed in legislature?
I mean, so we're going to be updating the handbook to address this.
Okay.
And so nothing in the law prevents us from doing this.
No, I mean, just generally speaking.
Yeah.
There's some things that need to be updated, probably?
Yeah.
Every year they meet?
We're proposing to bring this one forward sooner
Okay.
because we have it. We're probably about 3 months out and bringing you all the other changes that
Okay.
have happened. But we would, if the board thinks this is a good idea, we'd love to get it out to our employees sooner than later. So we wanted to update this.
Well, you hear a consensus, yes?
Yeah, I'd like to,
Good, Bill.
Jeff, just to make sure that we're legal here in the sense that if you have 2 employees, one you decide you let him go on the program, and another employee, maybe not as critical or whatever, you don't let him go on, are we opening ourselves up to a potential lawsuit?
Yeah, so the way we're setting this up is that you don't get, you get to decide who gets to go part-time from full-time. And then the employment, the healthcare benefits follow automatically. You don't get to have one person on part-time getting health benefits, another one part-time not getting health benefits. So it's done that way to avoid some non-discrimination rules that are that apply to healthcare benefits. So we should be fine the way it's structured.
I was just concerned, two people want to do this, one of them makes sense for the district, another one doesn't necessarily make sense for the district, then that's not an issue.
No, and I mean, let's just say we didn't even incorporate the healthcare benefits. You have the ability to decide who can go part-time, who gets what role. I mean, 2 employees, one wants wants the job, another one does. It's all about what serves the district. As long as you are making a decision based on non-discriminatory reasons, business need, you're totally okay. And what I always recommend my clients do is document why you made the decision. Yeah.
I like the idea.
I'd like to make a suggestion.
Are we?
Yeah, I mean, I had some experience with this, I'll say, of trying to, particularly with deep technical professionals or people that, I'm thinking operating people that have a huge amount of knowledge on the plants and stuff. So it was basically part of a knowledge management initiative.
Right.
And what we did was formal knowledge harvesting. So we actually went through a process with these people. They went through some interviews. We set them down, and it's like, how do you approach the problems you solve? What's your resources that you go to? What kind of manuals do you have? Do you have some secret books, hidden away that really apply? But we found that, a lot of people really wanted to do that. They felt good about trying to pass on their knowledge and pass on their expertise and to the good of the people. So maybe you can research that a little bit.
That's an outstanding idea.
And maybe that integrates in with it, as part of the process.
Yeah, and you can do that even before they're retiring or before they're on part-time. It's a great process.
Yeah, it's really useful.
Okay, well, so with that, we will bring forward some language for you to review, probably as soon as the next board meeting. Jeff's already put together the language, but I just want to make sure it's something that you're interested in. I think it'll be a great benefit.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. Information discussion, strategic plan 2025 outcomes.
All right.
So we're going to invite Billy Owens, our strategic plan manager, up to provide the update for you this evening.
All right. Thank you so much for having me tonight. I'm excited to let everybody know what is going on, excuse me, with strategic planning and how we're moving forward with meeting our goals and objectives. So tonight we'd like to talk about, let's get an overview of our goal areas and objectives and current status in some key areas, and hopefully we can have some time for some general questions and discussion as well. So here's our strategic plan, high-level goal areas, our planning, empowerment, excellence, and relationships. This is about demonstrating effective and aligned planning principles. It's about growing and engaging our team. It's about responsibly managing our business and active collaboration in the relationship area. So what I'd like to do is take each goal area, and these are our high-level objectives, and just give you a breakdown of some of the activities that are going on within these. And what's super exciting is listening to the board meetings and listening to the one tonight, there's a lot of activities that are happening relative to the strategic plan. So we're going to start out with our effective supply and infrastructure planning. Of course, that has to do with our long-term water, and there's lots of things going on with that. Lots of Platte Valley activities. The case, I think there's going to be an update around that tonight, and property purchases that are going on with that. There's also work happening on demand management tools. It's kind of which is also in the excellence area to ensure that we have adequate supplies to serve our customers. The CIPs are continuing. You saw the list of things that are upcoming. Excuse me. There's also a pilot project going on about the transition of a capital project from engineering to operations to make sure that all of the issues that are covered before it actually has to go into operation. So there's a pilot going on with that. And of course, there's also the water efficiency and conservation planning that's going on. The water efficiency master plan is currently in public comment. I think it's a 60-day period that's going on. So that's going on in this area. We have the rigorous financial planning component, and I was excited to listen to the conversation around at the last meeting about the financial management policy discussion that's happening, because that is an objective within the strategic plan. Also, there's the hiring of the CFO. We know that process is going on. We're going through a budgeting process as well, and there's been activities to include so staff can be more efficiently submitting that information. It can be effectively evaluated. And one of the things that happened was a new process by which it was submitted. Thank you, Jeff, for doing a spreadsheet that has, I think, been a lot more workable for staff doing it. And of course, the cost of service evaluation is going on. Then we have our strategic planning. I'm excited about this. It's about ensuring the strategic planning is aligned with our business practices and associated processes. This is kind of an ongoing thing that happens, and it's key to ensuring that the strategic plan is reflecting the goals that we want it to reflect and that we're doing it consistently. Also, going on is some work around communicating the strategic plan internally and externally. How can we make it more available so employees can use it as kind of a guideline when they're doing their jobs and making decisions? Also, it's on our website, so that's an update that's out there as well. There it goes. We have staffing master planning. This is exciting as well. We have a pretty solid internally vetted process that's been pretty permanent as part of our budgeting and standard processes related to that. And we also have an evaluation process for that. So on an annual basis, we not only see the ones that are coming that we might want in the next year, say 2026, but we also see a good 3-year window where we can evaluate, are we adequately projecting our human resource needs, as well as even in a tenure context. And we're working on having this be directly related to measurable workloads and service levels and industry benchmarking, so we can understand the fiscal impacts of our human resources over time. We also have information technology visioning. It's interesting to think of that the master plan is already about 5 years old. Wow. That went fast, at least for me. So this team, a relatively new team of independently working, they are developing a 5-year plan around that vision that was demonstrated in the master plan and elements of the master plan to build internal service provision needs and wants and how those can be determined and how they can support them. Technical services involves a large number of different types of fundamental operational infrastructure for a business, just like a well or a pipeline or a treatment facility that helps us deliver core services from a business perspective and an operational perspective. And so then the team is also working on those individual solutions, whether it's CIS, CMMS, ODMS, lots of alphabetics in there. Telephonics, audio-visual, as you guys have experienced as well, let alone keeping up with the enterprise-based solutions and things like SCADA and cybersecurity, which there'll be more about. So, with planning, any questions or things that you might want to ask the real experts in these? Okay, we'll move on then to our empowerment. This is about that attracting and retaining those high-level quality employees, building a sustainable structure that helps them do their jobs the best as possible. Safety and healthy employees, that's another component of our objectives. And then having efficient and effective internal communications. Those are some of the major things. So for that attracting and retaining high-level quality employees, there is momentum sessions that are happening, and these are led by division managers. So it's led by division managers as well as leadership within the organization, and they go out to the teams to determine what are the things that we need to be working on, and coaching is one of those things. And you heard about this DISC training. It's this behavioral assessment tool. The organization has used it for quite a while. The manufacturer of this has gotten a lot of good tools and training that is making it a lot more effective for staff to use this. And I'm going to tell you, I really do believe that having Erin as someone who owns this internally is a huge stride. I went to one of her classes. It was exceptional. So I think you're really going to enjoy, as the board will be taking this as well. So there's the sustainable team structure. How do we build an organizational chart that helps the organization do what we need to do? There's a solid structure in place, but we also evaluate that when positions are either somebody moves on, we look at the organization at every level to determine if a need for restructuring is necessary. So we have, with those staffing plans, we also have an idea of what might be effective in that area. And then you learned tonight about that succession planning that's happening to help the organization maintain the knowledge of those that might be transitioning out in the retirement process. We also have our safety component. So we have our internal safety advisory council that is working. We also have a safety coordinator, which is just a huge benefit to have that dedicated staff. A lot's going on in safety, proactive principles and communication, ongoing training, active collaboration for hazard identification, and long-term standard development relative to safety. There's also the ERP is happening, the emergency response plan. It's also part of the excellence goal area that we'll be talking about. Then we also have our wellness program and our physical biometric screening that, if you remember last year, that saved us about 8.5%, I think, in our Cigna or insurance coverages. And then we have a wellness activities that Erin runs for us again. It's monthly. There's the wellness bingo. We have a run walk club. And it's not only help the organization be be more healthy. It's creating a lot of collaborative talk between employees. It's fun to listen to everybody talk about bingo and how well they're doing with it. Then we also have effective internal communications. And there's a lot of little pop-ups here because there's a lot going on in this area as well. And what I love is that it's becoming part of the culture. So one, in our Paycom, it is our HR payroll solution, as well as a library and a repository for training, as well as time management. We have The Leak, which is a monthly newsletter that's published electronically as well as hard copy about things that are going on within the district. We have our In case you missed it, this is something communication puts out once a week, and it's relative to stuff that might be happening that's influencing Parker Water or across the nation and in Colorado as well. Really kind of fun. We have our, that one piece there is a screenshot of the TVs that are around that shows our vision, mission, and values. There's a lot of conversation about information that goes up on that, on the TV screens. So there's all sorts of things that come up, and that is managed on a monthly basis as well. We have flyers that are handed out. We have our all staff, and we also have our all staff emails, and it also relates back down to all of these things being discussed at staff one-on-ones as well with their supervisor. We have, so that's what we have for empowerment. Any questions? Anything specific you're interested in? Okay, we'll keep on going. So now we have our oops, I went wrong. I go back. Yes. So let me go back. So we have our 3 objective areas: the optimized district operations, having high quality core services for water, and ensuring enterprise resilience. This is our core business and ensuring that we get it done. There's a lot of work going on around optimization and efficiency as well as innovation, because we are a very dynamic team. The folks that I listen to and talk to, efficiency is part of how they figure out how they can do what they do better. And one of our objectives is to get a list of what everybody's doing to see if there's any overlap, that if there was any collaborative efforts that might help that. As well, we had an innovation team that launched, and the initial efforts there are developing a vision, scoping, and a process for how we could evaluate large and small potential innovation tactics that we might want to be using. Our staff is really innovative, and I think this team will really be key to help us identify some of those things that we can bring to fruition. High quality water services. There's a lot of pictures that I'll have pop up for you for. These are our core services, whether it's water or wastewater, our 2 core services. We have a lot of work going on in those areas. You talked about some of it. One of them is, one of the big objectives is around our disinfection process. You heard about our temporary drinking water disinfection change. It's a common maintenance thing that happens that helps balance disinfection strategies throughout the distribution system to ensure that we're delivering clean water to our customers. We also, for wastewater, have a, for performing wastewater discharge, for water quality, to work to provide high quality water that goes back to the stream at the most reasonable rate possible, as well as they're getting together a list of upcoming contaminants of concern that we'll have coming forward through EPA and then CDPHE. We have our enterprise resilience. As I'd mentioned, our emergency response plan status is happening. We hope it's complete by the end of July. It will be reviewed by our safety council, and hoping to start training relative to some of those things in the next quarter. There's a risk and resilience evaluation that's going on associated with that as well. And the organization does have to have this certified by the EPA in 2026, so we're kind of ahead of that game. I like it because especially at this time of year, if there are things that require budgeting, we're in the budgeting process, so that can happen. There's also a lot going on relative to cybersecurity. We've hired a new cybersecurity analyst. They're evaluating some of the information that's come out of the studies that have been done, and they're evaluating short and long-term activities relative to cybersecurity needs. Come on. We also have a collaborative effort that's going on between engineering and water resources engineering and operations to ensure that demand management that is being created strategies so we are meeting our peak demands. This is pretty exciting. It is around dialing in on the demands and when they're necessary to be constructed from an operational need perspective, as well as from a water resource engineering perspective, when those things need to come online. And also, relative to those demand strategies, it's helping operations determine their service levels. I mean, they've been working on developing targets and also how that might influence how they have either technological solutions that might need to come on, as well as resource staffing. And another component of that is that water storage at Reuter Hess is a priority. Yes.
So is this where water efficiency and conservation plugs in into this demand management strategies?
That is one of the things that's under discussion. So what does that look like? How much is the conservation savings, and how could that help make it through peaks? And it also helps if there has to be a level of curtailment and how that would be approached on peak days and things like that. And when you talk about curtailment, maybe it's just shifting certain needs to a different time that might be appropriate for that customer group. So yeah, it is actually part of that.
Thank you.
I think, see how they bleed over? It's so exciting.
It is.
Yeah, I get excited. So any questions on that besides? Awesome. Okay, we're going to go into the next one, which is relationships, talking about our stakeholders, talking about partnerships, talking about industry leadership, and active regulatory and legislative relationships. What's very cool is you already heard some of the things that are going on with staff that's happening. And when I asked for updates on this, it's like, oh, well, this is what we do. And I think that is what is super important about seeing this as a level of our culture. In April, as you all know, we did a third-party customer survey, came back very consistent to what was an internal survey that was done the year before. The Citizens Academy did have additional graduates, and that's really important in developing understanding of water resources in Parker Water. I also put up here, this was the picture on the right side of the screen is from the South Metro Water Festival. We had communications and I think water efficiency went to represent this first annual event. These also, the communications team, I mean, these are high-level things, but these guys are always working on water quality programs, the new CIS. They've supported efficiency and conservation programs, getting that information out there. Also part of these informed, the well-informed, engaged stakeholders is included is board activities. And you guys are very familiar with the work that's done. There's the Recreation Board that Director Wasserman is on. There's the Special Districts Association. There is the Douglas County Water Commission that Director Langley's on, as well as the Water Conservation Committee that he's on, and things that are going on with the special districts. We also had, these are two things relative to Here's things that, these are two areas, so it's partnerships and industry leadership. It's hard to separate those because work that happens can build partnerships as you're being an industry leader. And you already heard about some of the other things that staff is doing. Up here, I think coupling these two creates a great collaborative influence. On the left side of the screen there's something about when Rebecca spoke at the Design Build Institute of America. Ben Emerson, our wastewater collections manager, is on the Cherry Creek Board Water Quality Association as a technical advisor on that committee. It's about water quality that happens in Cherry Creek as well as at the reservoir. We were a location here at the headquarters for the Rocky Mountain section of the WEA for leadership that was hosted here. We also had some other external outreach. These are things you know about through the American Water Works ACE conference that went on. There was a group that came out and did a tour of the Rudder Hess Water facility. There was also the Grand Valley State University group that came out as part of their actually a course that they needed to do, and they got to see the reservoir spillway, and they got a different idea about water challenges here in the West. This is another one that's super exciting. We have our governmental affairs team, an internal team that's been, it has representatives that are from across the organization, and they come together to look at what's going on with outside resources, of course, Jeff and our lobbyists, to determine things that we need to take attention to and have an impact on. And as you know, there were things this year already, tap fee reasonability for special districts. There were things around turf limitations, things about workman's comp benefits, and I think something's coming on condemnation authority, right, for special districts. I'm looking at Ron or back there. Yep. And then we also have part of this team also influences our regulatory compliance, and there's a lot of discussion internally that is more focused on regulatory compliance, influencing things with CDPHE. As one of the things was the activity around their efficiency of review on water quality permitting. Our organization took a proactive approach to this and created a foundation that other water providers could say, yes, this is a challenge. As folks, as we're trying to build CIPs, we need them to be permitted before they actually go into operation. So that's a big thing, as well as the backflow standards. That was another big influence that the organization had. So that's relationships. Any questions around any of that? A lot of activity, lots of things going on. So I think we've seen some big wins, and it's exciting to listen and come to the board meetings and get the understanding that are we focusing to do less better? You know what? I think we are, and I'm hearing language around the strategic plan and the activities that are happening, and so are you hearing it. So we still need progress towards it, but things are being discussed, and it's becoming part of our culture. It's also continuing to be included as part of our business practices and our alignment, and that means that the culture is becoming part of our business operations. And one of the other things that is happening is more communication that I'm hoping to build to help staff at our fundamental level all the way to the executive levels to understand what the plan means to each of us as we do our jobs each day. Another exciting thing around that, the strategic plans on our website. So I'm pretty excited about that. Any questions?
No? That the strategic plan's on the website? Does that just happen?
Yes, it just, sometime last month, yeah. Pretty
We've come
exciting.
a long way since 1962.
There you go. Okay, thank you so
Lot of
much.
ways.
Yeah. Thank you, thank you.
Great job.
Okay, it's time for a 5-minute break, and then we go on to the executive session. Recess is over. And time to put it into a motion for executive session.
So the motion's right there on your agenda. I can read it if you'd like me to. So
Yeah,
it's
just read
a
it.
motion to hold a conference with the district's attorney to receive legal advice on specific legal questions pursuant to CRS 246402-4B concerning case number 19CW 3253, otherwise referred to as the Platte Valley Water Partnership Division 1 Water Court Actions. We need a motion and a second and a vote.
We have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a vote? Yes.
Yes.
Great. So we are now in executive session, and so
7:45, and the meeting is adjourned.
Great, thank you.